Good morning, good day. What? Moon day. Happy Moon Day. Something like the 13th of July, is it? Yeah, Moon Day the 13th. Welcome to group. Yes, I will see how we get on. I'd like to share this to the.com, and then I'm going to let you all know where we're going this morning. The universe has worked its magic and allowed me to be free today. My planned activity has changed, and I'm now free all day as opposed to being booked up till tea time. So I thought I'd use this time, this free time that the universe has given me on the Monday, the Moon Day, to come and say hello. You may have seen a publication that we've done previously called Fear and Shadow Contracts, Fear and Misery, the Shadow Contracts. If you haven't seen that, that's available to download on the .com. I can email it. Anybody that may want a copy of it or any of our publications, if you can't get on the .com, and it's on Facebook in the files section of the documents on splspro.com Facebook. You'll find files in there to download that we've given you, and I do believe you can have a look at that. So that's something Greg and I managed to cobble together on a phone call. We have both Kevin, and Greg knowledgeable and experienced in the mentalisation, mental health aspects of life, from many areas of life as well, from practicality areas to metaphysical areas, through extensive knowledge and research, discovery, interaction. You hear us talk about the sacred contract and so forth, and different. Think of it like this: if technology and information has been arrested for 100 years minimal, now this release of the information through the technology of the internet and disclosures is coming to us, and we're catching up 100 years to present day of arrested sociological, religious, financial, lawful, the systems that we use are hundreds and hundreds of years out of date, old since existence. Other technologies have evolved and been recreated, reinvented, and others have sat and stagnated. So you must appreciate that there are a lot of torrents opening up for you to discover. And it's not that we've just found this within the last week or so, it's that over the last few years of our discovery, we've caught up with 100 years. We've gone back thousands of years, as you know, pre-Christianity into antiquities, and we've looked at other scholars. So your mental health is very important. When you work out, the body is basically an antenna, and it transmits and it receives. So it would transceive, it's simply put. And while it transceives, it speaks a secret, silent language to the outside environment, the universe. And that's what we're here to discuss. Quantum fields is where you'd go. But mentalisation, I heard Steve Coogan, Alan Partridge, back of the net, mention about mentalists when he was running away from somebody from his caravan. And I latched onto that word some years ago. You mentalist. Darren Brown, the mentalist. So I'd like to know, if you could, keep your private and sensitive data private and sensitive, and let us know how your mental health is, looking. We have an estimated 500,000 souls coming from the middle class, working class, into benefits, state dependency, and loss of lifestyle, and adjustment to a new one, and debt, money, property, assets, titles. Adoptions up 43%. These are red flags are being raised by man. We're seeing the indicators. We're getting reports from the central government of economy, finance, transport, the general day-to-day runnings. We're having the Chancellor backing up, propping up the economy and the fiscal system, along with the banks, themselves, and the money and the deficits and the national debt. We got a lot going on here. We're committing unborn bloodlines to debt. As soon as they enter the realm, they'll come into the realm. They get registered, they get a ticket, a number assigned, and that's your debt number. Welcome to the debt system. You've just been born into a paradigm. That's not ethical, that's not right, that's not moral. This system that we're using for money is archaic, and it needs bringing up to speed with the current technologies that we've got when we expose the credit creations, the debt, the financial, the fiscal. And we can prove this, then it's our right and our duty, and it's only logical that this is going to happen. They're propping up the central banking system rather than letting it crumble and replacing it. It's been here for hundreds of years, and there are reasons why it must continue, because if that crashes, it means all of the associated secured assets, vested interests, stock, profit, shareholders are going to lose their grip, and then something else may emerge. Mental health then is connected to that debt system. That debt system is credits. There is no money and there is no debt. Those are two facts you need to take away from this. There is credit and there are charges. And your body is an antenna, and on a cellular level, these cells talk electronically. Each cell has a voltage, and you have a combined charge in your body. Charges are used a lot by us, but your body has a charge, your brain waves, and your mental state. You have three parts. You think with your brain, you think with your heart, and you think with your gut. But then we say on a spiritual, you got the incorporeal, corporal status there of the spirit, the soul, the mind. We have a body, a flesh. Jesus is the Word made flesh. Remember that. We've got many ways of looking at it, but the body contains a consciousness, it contains your soul, and it contains a ghost. All right, so there's your tripart. We have the Holy Spirit, the Holy Seas. We've got a lot of objective conjecture with regards to, what is a ghost, what is a spirit, what is a soul. You've got to look at this practically. You think, therefore you are. So how do we manage the SPLS Pro? What have we done to keep our mental state in mentalisation-based therapy? Is what we'll give you here. You'll have to excuse my pronunciation because the front tooth is missing. So let's say hello to G-Star, Michael, Scott, Anthony. We are okay. Yes, our initiates. We're all good. My Monday has been freed up for me, so I've got nothing to do. I have got jobs to do. I've got loads, but nothing planned. So I thought I'm going to come in and just check on a Monday the mental health and talk about mentalisation-based therapy, self-esteem. It gives you a personality disorder. Therapist, the T-H-E, the R-A-P-I-S-T, rapist. Therapist, spelled two words, the rapist, put together, therapist. I don't like that. We've mentioned that before. All right, but mentalisation is best summed up as thinking about thinking. So where you've got I think, therefore I am. Well, thinking about thinking is being able to understand our own mental state, standing out from yourself and looking down upon yourself in a way. It's a state of mind that we'd like you to think about. Instead of reacting, we now respond. Instead of instantly giving an answer or your opinion, count 3 seconds in your head silently, and then see how you feel then when you answer or respond instead of reacting. So you've got to understand your own mental state, the way that you operate, and that a lot of other people have this too, so it's in each other's image of. and how this affects our internal social, cognitive behaviour. Some people struggle with identifying what their emotions are and where they often, come from. Ominous feelings just creep upon them out of nowhere for no reasons at all. And some people feel bad around other people and see everything as a sign that they dislike, or that they are disliked, or that they may have done something wrong, that they don't fit in. So mentalisation, it's a therapy that fits in with many man's problems, okay, for many reasons. One glove fits all. It's a good way of looking at your filing system in your brain, how you manage your brain, file it, manage it, check on it, defragment of the brain for your self-esteem. So other people have given feedback on this, their voices, their feelings, their thoughts, and some people cry, all right, when they learn this stuff, and they start to manage themselves. It's a journey you'll go on, which will at some point you will be very happy, and that happiness will initially express itself as tears. All right, so I warn you now, it does liberate, it does free you, and it gives you a real sense of awe, in the real sense of the word, a relief, a losing of the fear, identified with strangers again, okay, that you've never been able to do before. You realise how isolated you've made yourself by accident through your own pragmatic techniques and habits, all right? You can start to validate your feelings again now. You're not the only one that has reservations about group therapies, and things like that, and how they are. We all think we're perfect and strong and the best we are, but we're quite arrogant in that respect. That's the ego stepping in. If you haven't considered any kind of mental health management before, then I've done it extensively. I've had it done extensively, and we manage quite a lot effectively, not perfectly, so we can all add our own. If you've got any techniques or victories over mental health, we would like to hear from you. Comments, redacted, sensitive and private data, or you can email myself or Kevin or both of us, and then we'll meet you that way. So depression and anxiety are a concern to our trust at the moment. The way that the government delays, we was on about benefit delays and universal credit delays and sanctioning coming back into effect. The elderly, it's a great demographic when we look at this. It's not just 20 to 40-year-olds. We've got the retired elderly ones to think about. We've got the young ones that are civilly inactive under the certificate of birth to think about. We've got the unborn lineages to think about, and the way that things are managed and done. Anxiety and depression and anger are a massive part. We have reports of school children looking like they're being depressed, and after what we've just gone through, we are aware that the emotions and stresses and pressures are going to be very high. So mental health we need to strengthen upon, and we need to have a look at the mentalisation, how you feel, how you cope, calling up officers for civil domestic disturbances, getting reported, making a log, of this, and then getting social services round. It can lead to dangerous pathways, a completely innocent civil, breakup of a family unit. So psychology will come into play. We need to have the ability to understand the mental state of oneself and or others. We need to recognise when somebody else may need help and they're not acting like themselves. They may not have the same character about themselves, temper, mindset, attitude. They might have stopped eating. They might have turned recluse, self-isolating. Depression makes you self-isolate anyway, so overt behaviour is what we'll say there. So we have to look out for others and be able to call in and help should the need arise. Mentalisation has been described and can be seen as a form of imaginative mental activity that lets us perceive and interpret human behaviour in terms of intentional mental states, needs, desires, feelings, beliefs, goals, purposes, reasons. It is sometimes described as understanding, misunderstanding. Okay, so you've got to understand why things have gone wrong. Who do you blame? How do you handle that? Do you get vexated straight away? Do you come home and take it out on your family because you've had a bad day, because you don't know how to talk to them and express your true feelings? When we speak often, we're on an autopilot. That's another commodity, bone of contention we have with the langu and the lingu, and how it makes us speak, the words that we use, the vibration, intent, definition, and etc. surrounding these words is very, very important. The alphabet we use, the way that the phonics comes out, the sound doesn't sing. It's quite monotone. Mentalisation can occur either automatically or consciously. Mentalisation abilities or mentalising is weakened by intense emotion. So in states of intense anger, of intense happiness, of intense fear, you know, there's an example there. The ability to think logically, mentalising is another way of putting it. If you are in a state of fear, they say that you are frozen. You cannot scream. You cannot paralysis. Okay, so that's what they're saying there. Mentalisation can occur either automatically, or we can have it occur consciously. And mentalisation, the ability of that, or to be able to mentalise, is weakened, if not removed, by intense emotion. So we have to look at then emotions and how they stem, what controls them, the dialect and the contract that we're in with the glands in our body that create and secrete adrenalines and chromes, if you like. It's been in the news a lot, so you're proficient with that, and it can happen instantly. You can, when somebody makes a big bang, you can jump and scream and feel that rush within a fraction of a second, all right? And you're in fear. Or if somebody scares you, and I'm a fan of this, round the house, and you like to scare your other half or set tricks upon them to lighten up the day and to take you out, you know, to mentalise some happiness here for a moment. Those tricksters, pranksters, joke dads, mums, daughters and sons, keep it up. Those are the little things. But when you scare somebody, you don't get to think about being scared. You are scared. When you get angry, do you think about getting angry? Or do you get angry? This is the mentalisation part. From now on, before we give our all, our autopilot, our programming, with our babble that's all confused and not even saying what we really mean, if we were to break it down, we would think about what we're intending to say, and then we'd reflect upon that, and you'd give the other side a chance just to try and get in there, you know, the two voices that you have, negative and a positive, or one voice that has two angles, and you'd have a little think. Often we see that reacting is not as good as responding. So there's techniques, simple ones that we can give that will work, that then have life-changing consequences. So if you are in a state of intense emotion, ruled by fear, is it COVID itself that has got the fear, or is it the fear of catching COVID that carries the most fear? Where is the fear aspect? Fear of losing your life, fear of losing your property, and then that's a subconscious thought that you carry around with you, running on your auto program. So your program's running with different variable inputs going off that happen throughout the day that subconsciously start getting added. So you're adding apps now to your system. You know, we need you to defrag your system, check your system, see what apps are running, maybe remove some, take out the malware, and then reboot and start again with our quantum non-legalese, say what you mean and mean what you say language. So lingu. Your emotions are needed, but they're not needed, and they impair logic. Always fair in love and war. A fool in love yes, falling for, etc. So the emotions again outweigh the logic, as well as drugs and alcohol, and that's another story again. But the mentalisation is to know the self, control the self, regulate the self. It goes into a bit of Taoism and the Tao, yeah, Taoism, to be fair. Mind control, all is controlled in the mind. You have a powerful receptor there, the brain, your DNA, your cells working, and this language that we speak, we don't know we're speaking it, so there are more than 5 senses your body can feel and be in states of joy, happiness, sadness, anxiety. There's at least a list of 10 to 20 emotive states there, and you vibrate at a level of a conscious level, but you don't know. And the trick is, from the Matrix masters, is that you talk to and communicate with. You're in a contract. It's a secret contract. You can't lie either. This language doesn't have, like when you dream, you're in a certain mindset, and everything is as it is. What is in a dream, in a dream state. When you meditate and you see and you envisage, there's only one state, one time is not really relevant. In these states, you go to a different dimension, a paradigm, and this language, it picks up on what your heart, I suppose it's your heart, not your brain or your gut, on a cellular, quantum, invisible level. Prayer also operates on this mechanism, the same one, an invisible aspect of reality, the matrix, matter, antimatter, and so forth, that we know is there, that's connected to, and your body will relate to this on different, you could think of it in colours of the rainbow, or from red to green, and subsequent colours going on amber, alert. We're going into the red zone, you're in the green zone, you're communicating well. You're going into the red zone, you're too emotive, you lost logic, and now you are communicating to the, I don't know how you'd call it, Gaia, universe, creator, ethereal matter. Man would be Magneto, and the universe and the subsequent invisible parts, 97-95% of it we can't see, is the electro. And we have this irrefutable universal relationship to our surrounding environments when you interact with them invisibly, with your thought process. And it also affects your family members, it will affect pets, it'll affect your health, it'll affect what happens and how it happens. So it's brought upon mentalizing is to break all of these chains and to say hello and to start vibrating differently. We have some ways of mentalizing, which is initially, well, all you take from this video is to think about how you're going to respond instead of reacting instantly and starting a chain of pre-programmed unconscious verbiages and actions, arguments between couples are often on autopilot, and if we, just one of us, of the two, with mental health issues, and we all have mental health issues, there's not one of us out there that can say, I am perfect, I have mastered mind, body and soul. That's the objective of this. If you've got some techniques that you can bring to the table, or you've had a transformation and you was Mrs. or Mr. Angry, and now you are a pinnacle of all that is at peace, and you've got peace within. We'd like to hear the techniques and your story there. If you are troubled by mental health and you nail bite and you can't eat properly, you self-medicate, you can't sleep, you're worried and anxious, and you feel lost and confused and dazed, and you're about to go to the GP to get some tablets that will make you sleep and fix you up, then we'd like to hear from you as well, as Kevin and I and Greg will further work on publications and also express hangouts. Love Thy Neighbour, a neighbourly chat will be where we start, and we talk as physical neighbours, residential neighbours, We talk as country neighbours, city neighbours even, estate neighbours, country neighbours, neighbours know no bounds. And we're all connected by various means. We're connected by a spiritual, unholy war upon this realm at the present. If we can get you strong, if we can remove the magician's tricks, show you the technique of which the magician quickly tricks you, utilizes the body against itself. We can be our own worst enemy, and we prepare for the worst and we expect the worst. What we've trained ourselves to do is expect the best and prepare for the worst. We look at the glasses as half full. We look at negativity as a chance to learn and correct. It takes a while to channel, but you'll start feeling healthier, you'll sleep better, the family environment will be better, you won't be as low energy, you won't be as run down, you'll stop your habits of nail biting and smoking. And it takes a bit. When the universe, whatever the secret language is that the body and the DNA transmit these waveforms, vibrations to, when you resonate, this is why you can't lie, because your body will resonate at a frequency that you can't really hear or see. So you don't know when you're doing it, but you will do it. It's like the kundalini rising up the spine, coming to the point of singularity, the cross, the death, the crucifixion, the pineal gland opening up after 3 days, and the gateway to. You must have heard of ascension and basic prerequisites to entering from Walking Dead zombie, fictional sinner, etc., to finding the light and being reborn. And that's your choice and your path to walk alone. But once you come out of that, the benefits doesn't make you a magician, doesn't make you better than anybody else, but you'll start to become impervious to, and the universe will go and test you. Let me tell you now, you'll still get your flat tires, you'll still get your bad luck, you'll still stand in dog poo, birds will still crap on you, you will still get bits of loose clothing caught on door handles as you're speeding about too fast and get whisked backwards or rip so it does let you know that all is not cushy la, and there is much to do, grasshopper. You get, and once you're in, for me, 1113, I did tell you, it will have games with you, it will wind you up. There is only one language, there is no interpretation. What is, and that vibration that your body elates to through what you inwardly project, you outwardly attract, it comes from a core center within. And you've got your consciousness, when you've got your soul, and when you've got the ghost there, and the spirit with you, there's 4 different paradigms of energy, all amalgamating into perhaps their 3D, 4D, 5D, 11D, who knows, but they are with. And just because you can't see is the greatest trick the magician's done, because we've become reliant on fact. And if we can't see it, if we haven't read it, then it doesn't exist. Oh, I don't believe that. We don't have trust, we don't have faith, we need to see stuff. I can't just believe it, and that taking away, it's a bit like Peter Pan with Neverland story. Sorry to go corporate reference in there, but we have found out that there is an eternal, nothing to do with Peter Pan now, but the realm, the paradigm, the duality has become a quantality, has become a Mandela, has become, many different things here with the revelations of the 100 arrested years of technology, the Smithsonian's, the tribes, the renaissances that's happening, the Langu, the Lingu, the scrolls, the amazing scholars that have put their life's work out on the internet for free and said, what are you saying? Where the fear has gone from the agencies that controlled, along with the church, the paradigm and the shaping of science and heresy, and the current news is still not to be trusted, but the independent, non-academic avenues are our man's greatest saviour there, like a white horse in itself, of white light coming towards. So secrets, histories, is getting Black Lives Matter are saying, you know, let's look at the way white man and the Western have looked at colonisations and land taking, and it's about time that the empire had to answer now for its wealth, the Commonwealth, and how it got that colonisation and turning, you know, indigenous land masses such as Australia and America, and the dirty history behind that and the lies we were taught, all of us. So to be patriotic, history is in a renaissance, religion is in its renaissance, all countries, languages, aspects, social, political control. Look at the government, how old is that infrastructure? When, what we're talking, 1500s, we're going back to the other night, 1600s, you know, 1066, Doomsday Book, these are all old Game of Thrones types, monarchy, establishments, dukes and esquires and banking families, you know, and then the church all congregating in this society, the law society. Why we've got good at doing what we do is because we recognise we're not in the law society, but there is a law society that has its own rules and regulations. They're all legal and they're in the law society. We've got these different societies that set up, but we can still prove we are not in a society. We may be considered and assumed to be, but once we assert that, you know, and this mental health, Santos, knowing thyself, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, the great ones there that have taught and teach the ancient Egyptians parables and philosophies and histories that are coming out, the texts, the scrolls, the lost gospels, the translations, the canonization of the Bible. There is a quantum particle matrix that's controlled by angels happening, whether you like it or not. And if you want to say hello to it and change your life and lose the fear and know thyself and get to grips with stuff, then yeah, you can do it. But we can't activate it. You've got to know that if you choose to get on this path on a Saturday night chat that we do, Kevin and I, you will be responsible for it all. It's one of them contracts, all right? There's no passing nothing on, and there's no telling it any fibs. It will be your best friend. It lives inside your brain, in your head, and you talk to it invisibly. Words don't count, all right? It's thoughts and feelings. However you feel is what it does, and then it will give you synchronicities. It will give you numbers, pictures, shapes, feathers, clocks, alarms, incidents, good luck, bad luck, hilarious moments. The synchronicities will be an indication as to how well you're doing. If you're in front, you're doing really well. If you say or do something and then what you say or do happens slightly afterwards, you're in front. If it happens synchronized at the exact moment in time, you are exactly where and how you need to be. If you see something and then you are the one that's after, and you think, hang on, that was shown to me earlier, and now I've just done that exact same thing that was shown to me. How did that happen? And then you're behind. You need to catch up. These aren't the rules of, but for mental health, I'm telling you now, there's an invisible realm. Some would call it God. Some would call it the angels. Some would call it insanity. Some would call it magic. Some would call it poppycock. The institution, the academy, use quantum computers, all right, to embellish and anchor what I'm claiming, and the scholars that we're going to bring you, and the pathways we're going to go down. Look at how the quantum computers operate, function, and optimize quantum computing capability. What they do is on an atomic level. Yes, I'm not going to get into the technicalities. Use your own due diligence. Do not believe my words for it. Look at how a quantum computer works. When you realise a quantum computer localises an atom's clone in other dimensions, paradigms, universes, whichever one you want, they're all similar, the same place, out of this realm, yes, in another dimension, and they find all variants of that atom, and they utilise that atom's power in all of the other possible computers that could be in existence. So when you hear of quantum computing farms, you think of CERN and Mandela and reality and matrices and pixelated universes, holographic universes, deja vu, and these kind of code type things that are going off at the minute. These guys are using the quantum quantification use of an atom in a non-locality. I'm nowhere near qualified to talk about this on a physical level, but neither am I about brains and neuroplasticity, but we do, and we're doing all right. So this quantum use of the atom across other dimensions is utilized, and that's why the quantum computer can work. Not solely why, but the heart of the quantumization of the computing relies on the computer finding alternative clones of that same atom in other dimensions and using that power to provide its quantum power. You tell me that other dimensions and universes don't exist, and spirits and jinn and ghosts and ghouls and demons and flying shields of Roman time in the sky all the way up to the elliptical triangular shaped UAE, unidentified aerial entities and so forth that we've seen, the disclosures there, Eric von Daniken's and the histories with amazing things. So these paradigms are yet to be discovered. They've been suppressed many hundreds, thousands of years. The evidences have been bombed, taken away, suppressed and put in secret libraries, hidden under the Vatican. I'm hearing of aeroplanes shifting gold and property of, I don't know how true that is. I've heard of Russia, America, other countries recently moving artifacts, property. We'll get onto that later. This is a mental health video though, so it's been contrived over thousands, hundreds of years, battles, continents, churches, religions, monarchies, bloodlines, Jesuits, cardinals, and history hasn't been clean. If we think, well, how did we come to this? It's always been like this. There has never been a time in history where man was not attacking oneself or battling another continent for control of its people's land, resources and territory. So it hasn't changed anything. It's just the style, the instruments, the weapons of war have dramatically changed. Technology has been used as weaponization, slavery via debt to private institutions, and non-mentalization of self, non-knowing of self, knowing of the languages, the many and various that we can speak. So I'll leave it there. We'll look at the comments, and thank you all for joining. I would like to know how you cope with mentalization, mental health, to feel good. Man seems to think that you can go to a general practitioner, get a prescription and pop a tablet. We refuse here, this channel Indie and SPLs, to accept that methodology where you don't feel very happy. So we go and take a tablet to feel better neurologically, compensating, much like the sugar, the nicotine, the caffeine, alcohol that have been introduced to us as drugs, neurological toxin drugs to stimulate our states. We'd like to do it ourselves. We'd like to do it organically. We'd like to do it pure. We have a right to. Our belief system is turned into a knowledge system, and we've gone from blindly following a cult religion to faith is linked with religion, to be fair, of faith, faithful to the religion. But we have a faith in the pre-Judeo-Christian gnoses, the information contained within antiquities, and the collusion of church and state, monarchy. I've proven that with the subsequent videos on this channel, and the evidence is given about the Queen Elizabeth I and the bringing back of all the information and the awarding, the recognition, Sirs, OBEs, knighthoods, Knights of the Garter, the Council of Foreign Relations and the equivalent of, and the control, the academic, the dictionaries, the printing, the language, the controlled mechanisms upon us. They've lost the grip of, and when you lose the grip of 7 major controlling mechanisms and you lose the grip at the same time, that's going to be quite a storm of brown smelly excretion to manage. So everyone that's wanting to put up an umbrella, you've got an umbrella given to you mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, politically, all of these areas that have been hidden from us and told it's one way. We find out it's completely the opposite. And so yes, there's a lot of interest in this for us going forward. to help manage. It's very, very like the remedies at law. They're very simple. You might say, you might laughing at that now, shut up, but that we are simplifying two questions. For is it mandatory being one for the DWP agents to get these sanctionings and things overturned? So when we say it is very simple, it is very simple. We had a scribe on the other day called Andy that had copied the information, given it one of the fam that he knows, and then achieved a positive result by using the simple information copied and relayed and uttered again, and therefore respect and kudos. So it is simple. The techniques, the coping mechanisms, they do know about these. They know all about the minerals and the vitamins and the crystals and the vibrations and the Higgs bosons and the quantum fields of flux modality. That's why they gave you the flux capacitor in the time travel film Back to Future. By Ekmarty, the truth is in plain sight. For them to break their karmic retribution, the karma cycle, they have to let you know in a subconscious way, non-direct way, what go on. And those that have got the eyes and the ears, the decoders, you see, when I say the body is like an antenna and it decodes, it does, but the brain decodes, the subconscious decodes, the spirit decodes, the soul decodes. And sometimes I'm sat here and I'll have to ring Kev and say, I've just got something presented to me, and you'll be in a different place, in a different time, relaxing, zoned out, meditating, watching rubbish, watching a documentary, and your subconscious will be working in the background. And as you are not thinking about what's going to now be presented, a new topic comes into play randomly. Non-voluntary thoughts, basically, are presented and not on topic of what you're on. So they're not even that you've reminded yourself, and it will go, what about that? And you're like, hang on a minute, I was thinking of that earlier, but I couldn't remember it, so I forgot. I stopped thinking of it and thought that I'll give up on that. And then later on, the thing that you was thinking about, the name of the professor, the Lord, the act, the statute, the proposed remedy, argumentation for, will then pop up as you're going to sleep. It normally happens, yeah. You remember something. There we go. That you was trying to think of all day, and as you're going to sleep, your brain, your subconscious, the other part of you, the invisible part that's been squashed, kept in a dark place under lock and key, Timmy, treated as something that's not real, not there. There's only one of you, and that's your now. Well, this voice will speak to you late at night and say, no, that thing you was thinking of at dinner time today, it was John Smith. And you'll be like, John Smith. And you get all excited. Now you're not tired. Why? Because that came in just before you go to sleep. Your subconscious knows there's one more job that needs to be done before we go to sleep, and I need to provide you that, what you asked for earlier. You can use your consciousness as a bank. And you've heard me say on videos, the memory is getting better. Healthy body, healthy mind. So if you're going to go and look at strengthening your mind, you've got to know now, you've got to look at all of the contributions of the intake of fuel, sugar, and neurological toxin drugs that we intake, because they, along with smoking, affect our metabolism. Our metabolism affects and the leg bone is connected to the knee bone. So it's the way that we're going to look at this is a complete overhaul. You're going to have an MOT assessment done like you've never been, and we're not medical professionals here either. There's no medical advice. This is just pure, positive, natural, divine, self-initiate, self-scholar counselling, all right? And we've looked at the laws on counselling and the parameters. We know how we operate, and private and certain things are not legally managed, as we brought to you in the yesterday's video, this morning's video. Yeah, you need to watch that a couple of times and see what we've filled in there. So we'd look at group therapy, starting with looking at your neighbour, passing this along, and then once you're all strong, the fear is gone, you know who you are, you sorted out simplified dietary habits, sleeping habits, self-medicating habits. I hope you'll come back and thank us. And if you've got those some, we'll incorporate yours with ours. It's not about we've got the only ones. We've got some. And Kevin's used them. and to effectiveness. I've used them to effectiveness. Greg, not it has, is. We are all using them. Greg is doing the same. And as I know, there's quite a lot of you out there that are positive, that are able to mentalise, that don't fly off the handle. And for me, Captain Giddy Pants, Crazy Horse, Indigo, A Go-Go, to start slowing down and mentalising, and becoming less fragmented, less emotional. And I've given you some good examples in with this chat for you to sit back and have a think. And I've done it so you can put yourself there. I've tried to give realistic comparisons and examinations as to it's not just rainbows and fairies and love hearts and tree hugging. This is practical, sensible applications alongside what we already have discovered with legal and lawful, and the remedies and the liabilities and the fear, and putting the threats. If someone threatens you legally, we know how to put the threat back on them for just about any legal threat. So, I'm sorry, my enunciation, this front tooth is making it hard to say my F's. I will show you one day and you can have a laugh, but let the swelling go down. But the point being, legal, financial, civil, we have an answer for everything now. A simple, calm, non-vexatious, and it's a response, not a reaction, and it's honourable, and it always puts the liability back on the claimant in every situation. When it goes to criminal, everything changes. So once again, for every civil, legal claim and controversy, sorry Kevin, but it is true. We said this this morning when we finished the video at silly o'clock. And I was worried about going to sleep after that video, and I said I'm up early, and I've got up, and the day's been cancelled. It's incredible. It's like there's an orchestra of the universe in the atomic fabric particles of reality, and I don't even want to get into reality because that's a mind bender in itself. And this composer at the front of the orchestra is the creator, and the composer is seeing new orchestral members be added day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour. And this orchestra is growing in our voices. Instead of speaking, though, it's the soul, the singing of the soul makes a noise, which is the vibration of the language of which, oh, here we go. It's how it speaks. It's not your voice. And when you sing from your soul and your body vibrates, and you end up adding yourself to that orchestra of the universe, and you present yourself in front of the creator, he watches and he listens and he controls everything. And when you are towing the line and you've been established and you're now awarded and you've passed your probation, and you're a full-fledged member of that orchestra, and you're singing at the correct resonant frequency, pitch, analog to digital, heart rate synthesized, full 1080p, glorious angelic particle matrix symphony of love color, he goes, you're on, and then in life you think that was all a bit coincidental again, and you think, was it coincidental or was it divine? And there are many stories, all right, out there. The girl that had a heart transplant, that found the heart transplant donor's killer is the best one for me. For those of you that may say, nay lad, this doesn't sit well with me, David, you're just here trying to get more views and chirp your rubbish and etc. There's a story out there, I can't prove it, but it's testified that a girl received a heart donor transplant, and in subsequent recovery periods, this girl that had a donor heart given to her started having horrific graphic nightmares, and she told everybody, and the doctors went, we need to get you some help, love, that's not normal, sorry about that, and we'll help you. The psychiatrists, nurses that got involved reported to the police all of the details and said, this sounds like something you might need to know about, because this girl has clearly seen something, or she's aware of something of a graphic nature. And they went, what you've given us there, upon comparison, it needs looking at, because it's very similar to the girl and how she died, that happened to then donate the heart to this girl who's received the heart. And they went, okay, see you in a bit. The police went away. They did investigations based on that girl's dreams that received the heart from the girl that was apparently ended life, murdered perhaps in a very bad way. She was not naturally found to be deceased. Okay, is all I can remember, and obviously things need to be kept private for respect and honour of the dead. And so the police did the investigations, and lo and behold, from the details in the donor heart girl's dreams, they caught the murderer, we'll say, um, for the first girl. And that was based on somebody's dreams that come through the network of you thing that you can't see. So the internet, it kind of already exists, and it's a pathway of your mind is connected to it, your body's connected to it, and the symphony of the orchestra of the universe with your vibration. It's all on frequency as Tesla and the pyramids and the subsequent Warden Cliff Tower and what he was about to do there, and other such things have now proven. So welcome to the Matrix. Welcome, enjoy it. Your feedback will be appreciated because it is an exciting, bumpy ride. Once you get to know yourself and you get in control of yourself, and you've got the addition of the instruments, the will, the lawful, the legal, the new paradigm that's about to open up now is a nice alternative. It's crucifixion was being offered. All right, Life of Brian sketch show. Crucifixion, yes, that's this way. Crucifixion, yes, that's this way. Crucifixion. No, actually, freedom, please. Freedom. Actually, to the left, then, my good man. Thank you very much. Crucifixion, yes, crucifixion. Crucifixion. Yeah, no, actually, freedom. I'm with that lad there. He's just got. Where's he going? No, crucifixion for me. Okay, there you go, my good man. Crucifixion, freedom, please. That I'm going with, and eventually the 100th monkey principle will also take effect. And when you know and you envelop in this, and you learn that there was an island of monkeys that learned to open coconuts with weapons and tools, and then the subsequent surrounding islands of monkeys which couldn't talk or communicate with the initial monkey island that started using tools and weapons to open them coconuts there. What happened? Them other monkeys started using weapons as tools and rocks to open coconuts and shellfish and etc. And the scientists went, excuse me, but which one of you was told to, who's let the cat out of the bag here? Who's the chief monkey? How did you tell the subsequent surrounding, and it spread? So there is another quantum field, non-located flux field of modality of which the animals. And so when you sit there and say, yeah, I get this with my dog, sometimes I think my dog knows what I think. Hello, that's the language of which there is no, it's universal. You see how I say now, I'll give you realistic interpretations and examinations of, so you don't just sit there thinking it's a load of codswallop tribe. I like the sound of my own voice. It's all that, and there's more detailed analysis. The Bosnian pyramid, wave format, scalar waves that have been discovered going faster than the speed of light, the speed of sound, compression of wave formats, Tesla, 369 vibration, Hermeticism, Thoth, Enki, Buddha, Enoch, Methuselah, Akhenaten, obelisks, pyramids, scripts, glyphs. You lot just better get buckled up, all right? We'll take you through a structured way with the fam. We're looking at presenting, talking, taking bookings, all right. Seminars for mental health is what I'm talking about now. We'll get into the fun stuff once we lock down and secure base camp. We have lots to give, lots to offer. I've not scratched on the GANs. I've got GANs news as well, but that can wait. All right, we're in a beautiful, positive place here. Everybody seems to be ushering in, I'll say this loosely, the revelation times, the Armageddon. We are ushering in a golden age. No fear, no, because we know what we know. Much like the ones that believe in the Bible that aren't really reassured in anything and are running around furiously scratching at straws, trying to make comparables to scripts and texts that should have already been done that haven't, because it's still been misinterpreted. The word virgin has allegedly meant young lady, not virgin. Things like that. Angel could be alien. Anunnaki, Nephilim, sky gods, giant skeletons, Dogon, no god, fish heads, Jesus being a fish 2,000 years ago. Something fishy about all of this. If you really had the conviction of that Holy Testament there, you wouldn't be worried. A lot of Christians are coming to us, double checking some issues, so welcome, thank you. No offence, no malice, no criticism. We've all made mistakes. We're even correcting up until the last second. So welcome, thank you for the correction, and enjoy the ride as well. true Christ-like consciousness, maybe returning with the quantum Christ, I'd like to say. This is going to be the leap home. I think there's one more dial in of the Stargate for this crescendo of the universal sacred holy chorus that's going to be given by this universal composer known as the Creator. And on that wave there, if you're not riding that wave, then I'm afraid there are going to be some left in the valley, which again may be flooded, the shadow of the valley of death. And we've tried, all right? So you get looked at weirdly, you get taken out, you get crucified like the good Christ-like consciousness, the Messiah, Jesus, Saviour, Lord, many different names and titles for many reasons. The corrections there that we've got to get with Jesus as Christ, but not as a Judeo Roman holy, etc. There are other Plutonic ways, much like the swastika, all right, same thesis, logic. It's not a bad symbol, but it was used by a bad man. Same as the natural, divine, positive laws. Is it just a coincidence how they work, how they act, or is there a reason? And are we ignoring it? If we ignore it, do we ignore it at our peril? Beryl. So, the Christians out there, thank you for being respectful back. Thank you for being inquisitive. It's not nice to know, much like us, when we found out about language, science, religion, law, and money, and ourselves, that we've been lied to. It's not just the Christians that have been led down the path, the literalists and so forth. It's all of us, and we're in it, as one, and as one family in one voice. We will have an international voice, not localized city voices struggling to be heard from dark alleyways of dingy little back alley clubs and so forth. We're getting onto the main prime stage now as one. I've just issued the effective golden ticket, much like the golden visa application scandal of the UK government. Search golden visa scandal and you will find a video I've done with all the relevant information in there. And yes, we're going to issue a golden ticket to Zion to exit Babylon in some instances, with regards to at least 6 of the major controlling mechanisms. And we'd like to ask for help, assistance, praise, grumble. And it starts with mental health. It starts with you and your neighbour. It starts from within, and it ends up without. You're going to get scared. You'll end up crying. You've got to do it yourself, and you can't lie. If that's something that interests you, that it's something that you need, something that you'd like to relate to, if I've jogged your memory or made you given you examples of which you can relate to, and go, actually, what is coincidence? Josh X is coming on very soon. I've got to arrange that, and I will take questions in email for me and Josh to elaborate on. We'll do more podcasts, interactive, so you can ask at the time with the ones that are in the podcast. We have done a call out in an email newsletter for assistance, gifts, donations, any kind. We're looking at a meeting to be held. I do believe now is the time for a serious one. I'd like to maybe consider a series of small meetings where we go London, Wales, Midlands, Scotland. That would be excellent, so we're up for more than one. I will tag on to all 4, and anybody else that wants to assist in this, you're welcome to come. All right. We'll arrange it through the .com. We're looking, as I say, for many things here. We need to pool our resources while we still have some before the rule of law comes in and says, have you got a license for that? Is that registered? Do you have permission? I'm sorry, you're going to have to come with us. And you end up in the cell next to Julian. So, it's a time of decision. It's a time of choice. It's a time of lies. It's a time of biblical prophecy. It's a time where prophecy has been fulfilled, I'm afraid, and legacy has been created. Now, this is a sea. It's a sea of legs, and it's time to get the leg action in. The last leap, you all need to push and jump When I say it's the last leap home, this legacy is going to need some legwork, and I can't do all the legwork. We need help: witnesses, ambassadors, diplomats, sovereigns, initiates, freemen, scholars, lawful descents, everything and anything, druids, pagans, travellers. Everybody's welcome. All right, it's not a white, pale, stale male action, and we need to utilise on a city-wide basis, starting with the street, the neighbourhood, and we've got to teach this lost gnosis, technology, wisdom, proofs, and accelerate it. If we do it in a small little closed community, it's going to take forever. But if we all join up our processing power and use the master brain as we brought by Napoleon Hill, Alan Watts, and subsequent, and we use and we share, things go a lot quicker, a lot faster, and it benefits man. So we're all about beneficiaries. And anytime we can introduce a benefit, we'll introduce it. There's a rule there. Is it good for all? Yeah, well, that will actually benefit everybody. Or, okay, then we'll pass that. Is that going to benefit? Is that good for all? No, actually, it's only going to benefit the 1% select elect, and they're going to make massively profit from this. But the other 99%, they're going to suffer, and they're going to allow this by electoral, parliamentary, constitutional, congressional ascension, and they're really gonna pay for it. This isn't really ethical. It's not moral. Okay, we'll pass it. The elite are our friends. The 1%, they need looking after. And then the economy crashed. So 2009. Is it good for all? No, it's not good for all. It's another one of those. It's a bit iffy. Let's have a look. Oh, our mates are in there again. We'll pass that. Shh. We'll look at it later. And that's how it goes. So, yeah, we have a duty and an obligation to our neighbour, not because it's biblical, just because it's practical. There are more additions as we're going to recode and rescribe to add to these commandments, and we'll put them in a correct language. We've got scholars out there telling us the word virgin was mistakenly used, and it wasn't so much virgin. The analogue, the text, the Hebraic, the Phoenician, the Renaissance it's too early to say, but the bombing of Iraq, Middle East, and etc. did not do the damage as much as I thought or feared it might have. We have much evidences, luckily, to go compare to and prove. So it's a continuous improvement, and it will start in your street, in your neighbourhood, by looking after. And when the universe sees you are honourable within the sacred contract, your actions speak louder than words on this, all right? So it doesn't matter what you say in an email that you've done, that you haven't. You're being watched. You're in a court, effectively. You're in the highest court, the highest office. Yes, the highest title you can have is ambassador and witnessed for, effectively, Jesus Christ. In principle, it's a nice idea. And if everybody did it, you wouldn't need what we've got now. So we'll roll with it for the principality. If everybody was following the biblical connotations of goodness, then in the Bible there's battles and there's pillaging and there's slaughter of the firstborn, and so I rephrase that. If everybody followed the 10 commandments, plus the other ones that aren't there that we follow just because we know we've got to follow them, we wouldn't be in this mess, so it's an interesting analogy, how it is, and the mistakes, and what Kevin's brought through Christopher Hitchens. We have to look at a lot here, and dissonance in every area of important aspects of our lives, which has led us to a whirlpool. You go from one corrupt area to another corrupt. Reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one. And it is very persistent, one stone Einstein, when all of your reality is an illusion. So again, back to the Christians and the restructuring of the codes and the beliefs and the giving of love. All right, Christianity, it's a great concept. Again, where the Christ-like consciousness, George Carlin. But when is man going to practice it? the Vatican's keeping all the wealth and the secrets and the information and the gold. The Swiss, Basel, Securities International and etc. have locked down all the investors' assets. You've got Vienna, Switzerland, Basel, secret treasury direct accounts held in stolen Nazi gold, not limited and exclusive to, hidden under the Vatican. It's not cricket. Then you got the church saying love thy neighbour. Everything's conflicting, hypocritical, sexual molestation, heinous crimes to man, and yet we seem to forget and move on, much like Facebook getting its hands caught in your data, in your person's private sensitive data, and apps being managed to access your Facebook person's legal activity and manage and mine that data after you've installed and stopped using them apps, again has got caught with its pants down. But you'll forget, you'll forgive, and it will continue on. And if you tolerate this, I'm afraid your children will be next. So we've had to stop tolerating, okay, and said that we reclaim the children as property and assets and sons and daughters, and we propose a universal non-sectarian remedy where we declare the world's resources man's common heritage again. How's about that? What do you mean we can't do that? No, we're telling you. Action it or get out, vacate. So, yes, I'm going to look for your comments, questions. I realise it's a random Monday midday update, but it does need saying, it does need covering. Mentalisation. We've got a triangle thesis called the Dharma Triangle that's come from Taoism that we're going to incorporate into this. I'm not going to read it you today, but you're going to see that as well. So if you see a document by SPLS Pro called the SPL's Triangle, we need to work on that. That was brought by G-Star, the web tech support designer, has got a fantastic heart, intellect and mind when it comes to love, protection and security. That's why he looks after websites well, because he genuinely has an intent that vibrates and is apparent, and it shows. But when he gets into his metaphysical status zone and he starts downloading and his consciousness connects, I've never heard such prophecies and understandings and comparables as what I've heard from him. That's why we wrote the shadow and fear and misery contracts, and how the mind, the neoplasticity and the functionality of your consciousness, fear, emotions, hatred, pre-programmed ability, reactions instead of responding, operate. And we don't see it as our job, but if we know stuff that can help you, we're going to tell you, all right? So we don't think it's our job to fix the world or to tackle all of the world's legal, civil problems, but if we've found a way out of which can help and fix, then we're bound by duty to tell you all, and to say, if you'd like to come and have a chat on a Saturday night as a neighbour, and we can do that by extension of physical next door neighbour to street, city, borough, township, okay, continent, landmass, and we're all by proxy each other's neighbours. So we've got a lot to shout about here, and we thank the universe and the realm for giving me this moon day off. I'm going to do some admin and be productive. I have got the princess around to look after. I'm going to look at the comments and give thanks and blessings. I've done a good positive thing today. Kevin is ready and able to offer information. We want to put a publication together as part of our guild, all right, and it will be free to distribute copyrighted intellectual property and copyright claim, but we're going to distribute to others regarding how we do stuff and what we do. There are others out there that do this. You don't have to listen to us. You are free to please double check, use your own due diligence, check out the laws and the regulations on counselling before you start throwing stones and saying, hey, because we can do this. We've got a right to try, and we'd like to establish a weekly, which is what we do anyway, but it's just not official. Every Saturday we check in with you. We do that because we want to check in. We want to share. We want to say hello. So we have a neighbourly chat. Neighbours on networks. Network neighbourhood. Now we're talking computers. You see how the neighbourhood has just been networked out into the digital realms? I don't know. We'll just say that you're all open. It's an invitation and it's our house. our house in the middle of your street, and as it's virtual, your street can be literally located anywhere. It can go on forever. In the beginning, there was Jack. Jack had a groove, and we're bringing that groove to you. And once you get into this funky groove, it was originally called Jack's Groove. It changed to Gordon's Groove, and now it's David, Kev, SPL's, and anybody else's groove. Groove is in the heart. Groove is in the delight in this sharing of simple, effective information. Some call it secret. It's not secret. Some call it occult. Some call it taboo. Some call it witchcraft, heresy, heretics. Some call it, Satanism. It's down to your level of understanding and willingness to have an adaptive mind, a flexible mind, a mind that's conscious, that will grow. If you can have a chat with your ego, please, that would help, and leave them wherever. Swap consciousness being locked up in the back of the mind in a cage dark cell. Put the ego in that cage dark cell at the back of the mind, like we've tried to do with ours, and then get consciousness and bring that to the frontal lobe and say consciousness, pineal gland, kundalini, spirit, consciousness and soul combine. It's a bit like go I don't know what, Power Rangers. And we're all going to do a sonic virtual fist bump when we come back together and enter the fifth dimension. Is effectively all that incorporates the fifth dimension. Consciousness, vibration, time being the fourth, allegedly. Argumentatively, we could go into that. Planck length, motion, time, relativity, it's all relative. In some instances, but non-locality, universe of flux field modality. Somehow the particles of the stars have got merged in with man's atomic structure. That's how we're all connected there. If you're wondering how would all this be possible, though, because we're just blood and bone, and I'm only human. Don't put the blame on me. Well, you are starseeds, and the greatest trick the devil has done is to say to mankind he doesn't exist. It's just a load of hokum. There is no devil, everyone. There is no God. There is no hell and earth. There is just YOLO, and just do it. Do as thy will. And there's no repercussions here. Anybody can do anything. You've clearly seen that. But princes and celebrity Hollywood types are seeing that they can't actually do anything, and their limitations of power have some limitations. There's a lot that are having a Nasara Jasara of their own with regards to information, intellect, spiritual, financial. There are evidences, I cannot deny, there are evidences around the globe to back up some of the claims with regards to debts, money, banking, monarchies, occurrences, churches, state and banks. When we say it's the church and the state and the effective, assemble, if the Illuminati were to assemble, it would be a religious, monarchical, financial structure that assembled, wouldn't it? Okay, it wouldn't be the have-nots from the peasantry assembling there. So that's kind of what's in the picture. Hearsay, heresy. I don't know what go on there, but the information and emails we're getting, we're quickly surmising the claims, what people are claiming and what people are knowing. So we're about knowing and not repeating rumours and gossip, conjecture and adding to. We're here to sell you what will work, what will be positive, what will be effective, whilst everyone else is falling to the floor. Much like the kite in the string theory, you are the string. I am, Kevin is, SPL's, we are the kite. The video, the information, the special purpose vehicle of Indiglo is the kite. You, by your viewership, are the string. Every view is a string to that kite. Every time you look at a video and you see a number there and a thumb up, that's a string theory, a string on the kite. It's I'm not stringing you along, and it's it's time that we Byron Stringley, come on, get up everybody. Come on, get up everybody. Moving, slide, touching. If you are a funky DJ and you know Byron, is it Stringley? Come on, get up everybody. That is one of my favourite all time. It's got the word string in it. I was just thinking of a musical interlude with string in it, and all I come up with is "Come on, get up, everybody." The I think it's Defected label, if I'm noticing the recollection. I'd like that to be the theme tune of this song. If you are depressed and you're feeling a bit sad right now, we've got music. That's another thing as a DJ, as a microphone controller. All right, here we go. Hold on. Selector. Fairground voice activated. You will find that in times of bleakness, in anger, sadness, sorrow, anxiety, lostness, your favourite songs, they will ground you, they will anchor you, it's effectively like getting in a time capsule. You will be transported back through time to when you have happy moments associated with "Come on, get up, everybody." 1997, maybe 2000, late 90s, Sheffield, something like "Love to Be," 3 in the morning, Tony Walker, Alistair Whitehead, friends and family all around, everything just silly, happy, disco, funky, handbag house, drops that down after some, I don't know, we're in a vocal, funky house moment where the music was good, the vibrations were positive, there was no shanking, looting, face too big for a boot, wanting you to kiss me, and you're a girl, and it was just all simple, funky, easy, understandable, relaxed, positive. Not all, but if you went to a Love to Be Tony Walker event in Sheffield, they had a reputation for being stylish, funky, sophisticated, non-aggressive, happy, going on and on and on, 3-day affair, all your classics, no fillers, simple structure, love and recognition, homegrown beats. It was just incredible time, really. Hard times on Man, but good times on the Escape in the nightclub. And those tracks that you listen to, whatever you've got your memories to, for me, I've got thousands of activations there. They activate your emotion, and your emotion activates your cell, your DNA, then that activates the glands activate the invisible matrix, and you start talking, a better way. So it's as simple sometimes. If you need a mantra, we got the mantras locked down as well. I got some words, Kev's got some words, all right. Everybody's got words. Words are tiny things, but they're powerful. You don't need to have a lot, and over time you repeat them, they drill in a message to the brain. It's that simple. It's just reprogramming, and the mantra is a way you can reprogram with a simple set, 2 sentences to start off with, and you condition, and it's really good. It's a way of setting a vibration, like ringing a tuning fork, and an opera singer. Figaro, 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 Figaro. Oh, the attenuation that you've got to get into the mood. So the vibration of your emotions are strong. If you're like me and you're a Taurus and you had some kind of spectrum functionality that needed some attention, okay, as a man, a young man, stressed with a family and financial pressures and burdens and commitments and etc., you can easily, and I'm just using myself, but I know there's many, in different single families, mums, dads, and etc., the pressures make you snap. So these lot know if they turn the thumb screws, the torture chamber has gone from being a physical dungeon to your mind, your men's, your own jungle torture system. And they turn the thumb screws a little bit more, and they keep putting complication and controversy and bridge and barrier, legal mostly, bridges and barriers, then man's going to lose it at some point. And with what's in the news and the topics and the outlay, I'm worried. We're all worried. The trust is worried. There are other trusts out there doing fantastic work that are finding failings. See last night's video for the data, and people waiting for benefits, and they're dying waiting for benefits. We have an incredible, never before seen time in this landmass, and it's about to get a whole lot serious. The eradication of the middle class to some extent, and the closing of small businesses, the high state dependency, the errors, the emissions, the hardship. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but if we could just try to put some preventative barriers of suicide, anger, hate, misery, misfortune, sadness, anxiety, drinking excessively, self-medicating, families having to give up property, assets, sons and daughters for adoption. That breaks my heart. That's obviously it breaks the family's heart, I would imagine, but more so the state then have got extra burden to look after man's blood. Well, why doesn't man look after man? And if we need help, we tell the state we need help, and if they can't provide the help, then they better get out and we can find another way. Okay, so no longer do we listen to the orders of the civic duties distributed by the state to our persons. Persons have been examined and utilised, and we're in a very, like I say, strong place. See last night's video and all the data contained in that. I've done something wonderful. I have to keep repeating something fantastic to let you all, I want you all for your own minds to work out what's been said last night and why previously. It will fill in the gaps to some of the issues that you have found through the lineage and history of this landmass. So we owe it to all of those that have died in a war, you know, the horrific deaths and tortures and miseries and battles that have gone off. I mentioned a dead English, you know, deceased, I don't like using the word dead, a deceased English princess by the name of Diana. I said it for all those that have passed in the name of truth, honour, justice, light, that have been effectively legally murdered, is how we could put it. We'll go through various bits in history for you, but we owe to those collected souls that are up there in the seas of souls, the seas of the Holy See, the seas of space, the seas of commerce. Well, there's a sea of souls, and that's effectively another part of what you connect to, an energy form. Energy can never die. It merely transmutes, mutates and transforms into. So we owe it to them. And I believe that they will give us a boost if we mention and take time to think of those. If you have lost somebody recently, I am sorry. We are sorry. We're not here to vexate, aggravate, intimidate. We're here to originate and you know, inspire. So these lost ones that have done something to keep the you know, morality and the rule of law, your freedom essentially, our freedom, our unborn lineage's freedom. So we got the reintroduction of sanctioning. We got the BBC British Corporation wanting to legally prosecute our grandmas and granddads because they might not have a bit of paper with a licence on. They have no soul. They do not care, and it's all about the monies. It's big business booming. We have a bank masquerading as a country, and it's all coming down in a shower of shiny. Yes, I'll let you fill in that other word. And credit is being created and interest is being paid on it, and then homes and property are being foreclosed when the agreement of the credit that man creates and agrees to borrow off himself, given to, facilitated by the bankers there, is fell into default. We have these special purpose vehicles being put into envelopes, mortgages and loans and debts and stuff, etc., and being put into prime and subprime, you know, areas of financial bonding and trading and offsetting and frequencies there, but yet we can't find the money to bail our own communities. Sick, adoptive. Why would you bail out to the tune of billions, corporations, but yet watch man on the landmass go and give up their property, assets, sons and daughters, yeah, on adoption? Why not help them? Why not, you know, why would we see the health drop, standards dropping, intelligences, prospects, education, employment? Okay, these are serious big issues here where we think, who's looking out for these? Oh, they'll sort it out at the time. Well, we got good at looking into the future, is what we do. Prevention, my grandma used to say, is better than cure, David. And she was preventing me from future harm. She was a wise lady, and she taught me well, as Andy and I have mentioned about both our grandmas before, the rod of iron, the rule of thumb. And our rule of thumb is those that do not learn from their past mistakes in history are doomed and forced to repeat it again. And to keep repeating the same measure and expecting a different result is insanity. So something has to give. But I'm sorry, it's all giving at once. That wasn't, you know, the plan. We said in January, February, what big year it will be and how massive it's getting. Things are speeding up, and we're very grateful for the events and what had happened. And it will be, you know, the last year of pain, misery, sorrow, pestilence, heartache, and liability, infractions, assumptions, etc. Little did we know, on uttering those words, what go on. So thank you all. Your praise and grumble, the emails, contact. Yeah, good natural food is hard to find, Quinn, in these supermarkets and the import-export, European marketing standards and agriculture standards, pesticides. I have a friend who has a serious PTSD. NHS can and will do no more. My words have gone. Any help available, this man, good true spirit of truth and honour and ability. Thank you, Stuart. You got the email. Kevin and I will work through, and we'll put into forums what we find, what we have, what we use, Greg and I, and we'll we will help those ones at PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Yes, not a problem. Thank you. Megahertz, nature's vibration. Yes, thank you, Stephen. Looking at the comments still, just scrolling down. So every Saturday, that's what we're going to focus on now, and those are the reasons why. Set a tone together to get the best out of each other. The three on one conscious frequency, like doing a crossword, on the same wavelength, on the same vibe. Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. We've got here 81 in January, and there's a large bedroom council flat. What happened to OAP? Your home. Wow. I'm catching up. I'm scrolling. Okay, and today I'm looking at there. You were chatting amongst yourselves, so all is good. Mother David will not let me. Hello. Data control at 2018 body law. Which lawful box is talking to the if the 20 boxes? Indeed. I need some time. My mother, 90 years old, has a letter from council to collecting data of a third party called Circa, stating she does live alone in a letter. All right then, we'll see to that then in due time. All right then, no panic, no bother. We will have a chat. Checking in on Yanka. She's teenage hormone growing pains, off school. I'm glad she's been with us when she, you know what girls are like, and the body changing. I'll leave it there. Dads, feel me, help. I do my best, and she trusts and asks me questions and expects the truth and the answer instantly, and it's not always possible, and I have to check with mum. And my apologies. Everybody's gone. The internet just reset for some reason, so I've just gone onto mobile. All the comments have gone, all the scribes have gone. All right, I'll end it by saying sorry about that. Apologies. Unexpected disconnecting of internet, can't be foreseen. Thank you all for your time. We'll be back Saturday about 10:30, 11 GMT PM. Yeah, and we'll talk again, and we'll put this into effect, and we'll give you some techniques, and we'll get the boys, myself, documents that we have collated. We'll look at your emails, what you send, your influences, your coping techniques and strategies, and we will furthermore reinforce the information that you need to know to assert yourselves and safeguard. All right, so it's been fun. Thank you. Happy Moon Day, and we will see you maybe on the Saturday, if not before. And take care. Stay self-governing. Trustafarians. Bless up. See you later. Much love.